Our lead NFL insider, Jonathan Jones, here with us now. When JJ, we had the other JJ in Minnesota with his quad contusion. He says he does not expect to miss week 3. Are you hearing anything differently to make you feel a way that he might need to be sidelined for a little bit?
Yeah, the better paid JJ of the two, Justin Jefferson. He said after the game, as you note, that he's going to be fine. He's going to get his body right for this upcoming week as they face the Houston Texans. We'll see, right? I mean, you feel good after the win. You're 2-0 at that point when no one expected you to be 2-0, and you have a big game coming up next week. Will not at all be surprised if he is a DNP. It did not practice on Wednesday. Hopefully, a good sign would be if he then gets increased to a limited participant on Thursday, but one should not expect him to be a full participant at practice, knowing what he means to this team, knowing the sort of injury, though not serious. No reason to make it any worse for probably the most important player on this entire Minnesota Vikings team. Yeah,
we've seen his connection with Sam Darnold look pretty good here in the early goings of the season. Talking about something that is not pretty good over with the Chiefs. Some breaking news that we had come out earlier this morning, and this one pertaining to Isiah Pacheco, who looks like he will miss some time with an ankle injury, potentially heading over to the IR now. What is the situation and the concern level with the Chiefs if they are to miss Pacheco for maybe 4 weeks?
So they're looking at doing more tests today, but right now it certainly appears like it's an ankle injury that will sideline him for some time. We know on injured reserve that a player can come off of IR after just 4 games on it. I think we're talking about more than just 4 games for Isiah Pacheco right now, perhaps some sort of mid-season return. And so the next question, of course, is what will the Chiefs do in his stead? They had fullback Carson Steele there at the end of the game. Remember, of course, they signed Samaje Perine after the Broncos cut him back in August. They've only gotten 13 plays out of him, but they signed him for a reason. They also have Keontae Ingram on their practice squad, a third-year back. They have undrafted rookie Amani Bailey as well. So you're looking at trying to get by against the Falcons, then the Chargers, and then the Saints, and then you get that week 6 bye that we just saw right there. So I don't know that the Chiefs, I wouldn't be surprised if they have some workouts this week, but I would anticipate that they would go with Samaje Perine, maybe get a little creative with a Xavier Worthy like we saw in week 1 against the Baltimore Ravens out of the backfield. But this early in the season and with an expected return, I don't know if it's going to be 6 or so weeks. You don't want to go out, certainly not trade for anyone. And so I think the Chiefs will roll with, at least in this upcoming week, who they have on the roster.
Another injury to another running back, but maybe not as serious, is when you look at the Texans with Joe Mixon, who wasn't too pleased last night after brought down with a hip drop tackle that was not called. He was hurt, but would return to the game a little bit later. Is there anything that maybe the league, number one, needs to do in terms of calling these hip drop tackles and seeing the flag come out for it? And then any concern with the Texans when it comes to Mixon?
Okay, so right here, the hip drop tackle, and if we can play that again, because this is interesting. He grabs him around the waist. That is part of the hip drop tackle. The defender is going to de-weight himself. That is another part of the hip drop tackle. And then he's going to put his own body on the leg of the rusher. What is missing from this is a swivel. And that's, there's a lot of elements here, but there's not a swivel involved here. I will say this because I wrote a story about this last week. There were 2 hip drop tackles that the NFL identified that did not get penalized. One on Jordan Addison, another on Juwan Jennings. Jordan Addison missed this past week. Juwan Jennings did play. They could fine the offenders about $19,000. One player did not get fined. The other player got fined less than $5,000. So for all the hubbub about this play that they were hoping to outlaw and prohibit, that has an injury rate of 20 to 25 times higher than that of a normal tackle, we have yet to see a flag on this play, which the NFL did say we probably won't see so many flags as much as penalties financially after the fact, but we haven't even seen that either. So I've been a little surprised, honestly, at the lack of calling it And last night, I don't know if it fit the exact description, and the league will certainly continue to take a look. And if it does, then I would expect and anticipate a fine for that defender. But have been surprised because the NFL has documented 2, and if you consider that one a third, still no flag.
Yeah, it feels kind of ticky-tack and maybe just the uncertainty of what is and what is not a hip drop, even with Jamar Chase. Only have a minute left here, JJ. I want to talk the Jets and their defense, taking some more blows with Jermaine Johnson, maybe done for the season. C.J. Mosley carted off with a foot injury yesterday, and then you still have just sitting at home a pass rusher by the name of Hassan Reddick, who certainly could help that defense out tremendously. With these injuries, is there any chance the deal gets done faster now?
I don't believe so. I don't think that the Jets are going to get a deal done with him before he comes into the building. I think that they are going to stick to their principles here, because then you look like you're freaking out. Then you look like you're going back on your word. Then you, as an organization, appear weak. Do they need Hassan Reddick? Could they certainly use him Thursday night against the New England Patriots? Of course. There's no question about it. And let's give some credit to Will McDonald for stepping up in place of Jermaine Johnson, who very likely has done for the season with Achilles. But I don't think that the injuries should change the math for what the franchise, the New York Jets, is attempting to do. I understand why, but at this point, the bridge, if you're trying to rebuild it, it's not great. And just because you have injuries doesn't mean that if you're the organization that you let Hassan Reddick win in these negotiations. And so because of that, I don't think anything is going to change for the Jets until Hassan Reddick gets in there, because that's what the Jets have said, and they can't go back on that.
So Reddick's still yelling, "Just give me my money," and the Jets are staying completely silent all around him. Jonathan Jones, thank you so much for talking some NFL football and all the injuries with us here coming after week 2.